Hi, Country Changers. Welcome to another monthly webinar. This month we're featuring Temora, and I am joined by Craig Sinclair from Temora Shire Council. He's the Economic Development Officer over there. Hello. And Lachlan Pellow, who seems to be we're going to have to put you on a retainer because you're always on. I'm just joking. You're like the real estate face for Country Change from QPL in Temora. So thank you both for jumping on. How are you going?
Craig, I'll let you go first.
Oh, I'm doing well. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Temora.
Yeah, cool. Lachlan,
I do need to mention that it is an absolute cracker day here in Temora today. It is so good. We've got, I don't know, what it'd be, low to mid 20s probably outside, nice and sunny. And all the crops and everything in the district and the pastures are just booming at the moment from the wet season that we've had. So it couldn't look any better in the district at the moment.
If you haven't been to the Riverina in spring, it is something spectacular and something very special. You've got your canola flowering, and from what I hear, the crops are looking great. Well, Craig, you were born and bred and have returned to Temora. Tell me a little bit about, I guess, the reason that you've come back and stuck around as long as you have, and in your job in particular, what that means.
I came back about 8 years ago after 18 years out of Temora. I left after school, went to Canberra and uni, and then went on holiday to the UK and stayed there for 15 years. So coming back to Temora for me was about returning to my roots and really wanting to reconnect with family and community and get a sense of what being in a community is really like. I kind of missed that when I was young. I really loved the anonymity of being in London, and as you get older, you kind of want to form closer connections. So I would find that I'd go on holidays in France and to these rural areas and really love it, and then realized after a while, hold on, I grew up in a rural area. Why am I living there all the time? I enjoy it so much. So it was really a great experience for me to come back and realize that I'd been longing for the things in my childhood that I probably didn't appreciate then. So landed my dream job here at Council doing economic development and tourism, so helping people to grow their business, either bring it with them or expand it if there's one here already, helping grow the workforce, which is part of Country Change. We've got more jobs than people at the moment, so it's really important for us to grow the workforce and provide employers with the jobs they need, and tourism is another part of what I do. So it's a great community and a great place to work and help to sort of shape the future of.
Yeah, awesome. We'll come back to that topic of those latter points. But Lachlan, tell me, why do you love Temora and how long have you been in the region? Because I think it's been a while. Are you considered a local yet?
No, I'm born and raised actually. So
I got the wrong information. I'm sorry.
No. So yeah, born and raised, born in the Temora Hospital here, and went away to boarding school for sort of 6-7 years, and then came pretty well straight back. Had a bit of a stint working with Temora Shire Council, just doing some civil works sort of stuff, and then my parents have had the real estate business here in town since 2010, and I was always sort of. I think I was always pretty suited to go into a role there, and when a role became available, I jumped on it and started here in property management, and then I've been doing sales for 4 years in the business now as well. So we're a family-owned business. We've got myself and my brother both work in the business as well. Plus, there's about 20 to 25 staff across 3 offices, soon to be 4 offices. So we're going really well. But on the Temora side of things, I've sort of, when you leave school from a country town, you always think, yep, well, I'll be moving to the coast or I'll be moving to the city and do my stint there. Some people do. Craig obviously did that and took it to another extent when going to the UK. But for me, I've sort of fallen into a role that I really enjoy within our business. And I've always, I think, been probably suited towards a sales role, especially in real estate. And I've really grown to appreciate living in the country. And this probably pandemic in the last 18 months has been a big eye-opener for me in how good life is out in the country. And I can't see myself really leaving Temora. It's not in my foreseeable future or plans or anything like that. I really enjoy the enjoy living in the lifestyle that comes with it, and the small town, and the fact that I know probably majority of people in town, and nearly everyone seems to know who I am as well. I like that sense of community, and then also heavily involved in sports and things like that locally as well. But look, don't get me wrong, I love a holiday as much as the next person, and trips right around the countryside, but out around Australia and overseas when we could. But I think the having a base in Temora, especially in a country town, just gives us that gives me that ability to sort of have somewhere where I appreciate to live, and it's a bit slower paced, but we can still have a really successful business and be able to help people along the way. But then also it's a great base to travel from and enjoy holidays. And we kind of, this time of year, it's almost like you're in a holiday setting all through the spring anyway. So
yeah,
you don't really miss out on too much. It's so easy to travel and enjoy the city and things like that on a regular basis. Prior to COVID, I was probably going to Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane every sort of 6 to 8 weeks. So it's not like you miss out. It's not hard to travel. It's pretty easy to access things like that.
Yeah, and look, Temora is located very well, you know, in country terms. 4 or 5 hours is just down the road, but you know you're going to get there within that time frame. You might have to stop for the odd roo or sheep parade, but you know, it's not like you're going to be stuck in traffic, which is great. One thing that I love about Temora is the I guess the innovation and the commitment by the council to really develop the area and all the other little towns, because that's the other thing. Temora Shire Council is actually made up of a bunch of other little gorgeous towns and villages, which Craig, you can talk about. But I guess the focus on the economic development from Craig and his team has been really impressive. Craig, do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the, I guess, the really standout developments that you've got on the go at the moment where there might be opportunities for employment or people bringing their business?
Yeah, sure. So it has been probably the busiest 18 months of my time back here in Temora. So COVID hasn't really slowed things down here. And some of those things have been a result of the pandemic and people sort of shifting their focus. Other things have been in the pipeline for quite a while. So we have a lot of community initiatives in terms of the infrastructure that we've been providing for the community. So as a council, you mentioned we're pretty progressive. There's been a lot of funding thrown at regional communities over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and I feel that council's invested that really wisely. So we've done things like we're opening a new arts centre for all arts. That's opening this year in the former Scout Hall, and a new development there. We've opened a water slide in Temora swimming pool, and currently putting in a splash park as well. We're going to completely expand the pool next year and take it from 6 to 8 lanes. We've upgraded all of our sporting facilities. They're now really great for both male and female participation in sport. There's been a whole range of activities that we've done to help, just improve the facilities here, so they're at the same sort of standard you'd expect anywhere in metropolitan Australia. In terms of more broadly, in terms of the industry development here, we've worked on our airport. That's probably one of the things that a lot of people would recognise Temora for, is the Aviation Museum. And the Aviation Museum is here because there's a really great airport, probably one of the best airports in regional New South Wales, if not Australia. We've upgraded that airport. We've just spent $5.35 million in totally redoing one of the tarred runways and putting in a parallel taxiway. We're about to expand the air park estate, and that is where people can have a house and a hangar behind it and taxi out with their hangar onto the runway and fly wherever they want in Australia if they've got their licence. So there's over 100 residents living on the air park estate at the moment. We've completely sold out of the most latest development, and we're looking at doing another 40 lots in the newest subdivision. Key to that is also attracting a commercial pilot training academy, and that industry obviously has suffered quite badly because of the pandemic. But when international flights resume, the predicted shortage of pilots is only due to increase because so many pilots have lost their currency or retired, taken early retirement during the last 2 years. So we're looking to train up to 200 students a year. There's 97 jobs involved in that development alone, from aircraft engineers through to pilot trainers and cleaners, and there'll be 200 students living here and getting trained every year. More broadly, agriculture is really kicking off. So we've had a couple of really, really great years. Even the drought here wasn't too bad for our farmers. So they've managed to survive that quite well and thrive. So all of our machinery dealerships here are growing and expanding. So they're looking at, one of them is going from 115 staff currently and tripling that over the next 3 or 4 years across, with the headquartered in Temora, with a base of stores all around Riverina. So they're building a massive new headquarters and looking for diesel mechanics, but also the whole nature of agriculture is changing and shifting into the sort of digital age, where it's more about precision agriculture and using technology within ag. So the nature of their business is changing too, and they're looking for people with more digital skills, more tech savvy kind of people to join their workforce. So that'll be an interesting shift over the next little while too. Hospitality is another massively growing area. So one of the developments I'm really excited about is our old flour mill, which is a beautiful old 4-story brick building built in around 1900 that's going to be converted into a boutique hotel and microbrewery, due to open at the end of 2023. 2 of our other old heritage pubs, but a beautiful amount of heritage buildings in Temora, gorgeous Main Street. They're being renovated at the moment, and having quite big treatments done to them. So sort of more what you expect to get from the city, sort of boutique hotel with a couple of restaurants, big food focus on what they're delivering there. So one of them has just put out a call for staff. They're looking for over 10 staff. So we've got a big push on hospitality staff that's coming up. And then all the same things like your trades. We've got so many builders in Temora, but there's a massive waiting list for them as well. So, they're taking on more apprentices and trainees. All businesses actually have probably seen an increase in apprenticeships and trainees fourfold in the last 12 months compared to what we'd normally have. And that's a result of, the time being right, but also the government incentives that are there and just the result of the growing population. We've got 2 large subdivisions on the books, and another couple on the boil, which will mean that within the next 12 to 18 months, we could have over 300 lots available of land fully serviced, ready to purchase. And that, I think, for the housing crisis that a lot of regional Australia is going through, is quite unique. Council's worked on a policy recently where we will help support developers pay for the infrastructure that they need in return for getting that money back once they sell the lots, which is pretty innovative example of some of the things we're doing to try and stay ahead of the curve when it comes to keeping the community at forefront.
Yeah, look, and that housing shortage is an issue because, as we were discussing before the call, so many people have decided to relocate and live the life that they've always wanted sooner, before retirement, before the kids leave school, because they're realizing that there's more to life, I think, than, that hustle and grind of city life and trying to keep up with mortgage repayments. So Lachlan, that's a perfect segue to you, with so much happening in Temora in terms of that industry, innovation, commitments, development. Are there any houses around at the moment? Like what's the current situation?
Yeah, so our housing market at the moment is very similar to what you probably noticed right up the eastern side of Australia. There is definitely a lower amount of stock on the market at any point in time. However, we are actually selling more property there's been more property turnover in Temora in the last 12 months than we've ever seen in a 12-month period. So yes, there may be less stock on the market at any point in time and the interest may be strong. However, we are actually seeing more property turnover, which is meaning that there is a greater selection on the available for purchases. You just need to be organised and ready to jump when the right thing becomes available, which we are definitely seeing from a lot of our out-of-area purchases. A lot of interest recently has been from South Coast, Sydney, Canberra, Illawarra, through the Illawarra and up to sort of Newcastle, even a bit higher than Newcastle area. Recently, there's been, like I said, some interest from those areas. we do have quite a number of people who had previously lived in Temora looking to relocate back, but also definitely new people who haven't even really looked at Temora previously. They've just come across the right property, or they were looking at a vast area and came to look at different towns and have pinpointed Temora as one of their more preferred areas, just based on our our main street's is thriving. It's got there's hardly an empty shop. We've got such strong development happening, which what Craig just talked about as far as the hospitality side of things. It's often where rural towns lag, is in quality food and places to eat and drink and entertain and have a good dining experience, which Temora in the next 2 to 5 years is going to be really leading at the forefront of what a regional town can offer as far as hospitality and accommodation as well. There is, like Craig just talked about then, quite a lot of land becoming available in the next 12 to 18 months, which is in a mass that we have not seen in our local market. Now, our local market is very strong and thriving at the moment. However, I think that's only going to take off further as this land becomes available, because there is going to be the need there for the workers through industries like agriculture and hospitality and plenty of other things. We have a massive shortage of trades in the area. Like, there is some extremely high standard tradespeople in our area who operate in our town, but they do have a waiting list at the moment, majority of them, and it's not a quick exercise in that to try and get a new home built at the moment. It is something that you can get in and get organised and get started, but the process has probably been pushed back 6 to 12 months in comparison to normal times. But as this land becomes available, I think there's a big need for more qualified tradespeople to look to relocate. And from a trades perspective, people often, when they relocate to the country, realise that they probably need to take some sort of reduction in their earnings. I think from the trade side of things, the ability to earn the same amount or even better, because the demand is there for your work, is definitely on the cards for tradespeople. There's no reason why they can't charge the same hourly rate for themselves out for the work they're doing here as what they might be doing on the coast.
The locals are now really upset with you for saying that.
No, that's fine. Look, honestly, the cost of living is a difference, but there is a demand there for tradespeople, and our locals would be happy to see more trades come into the area. There's definitely plenty to share around, and there's going to be plenty in the next few years to be taken on. So I think that's one side of things that we really need to push is tradespeople moving to the area. Like I said, there's quite a lot of land to become available in the next little bit. And at the moment, we have some beautiful homes coming on the market through the spring period. You're going to see some of, if not a couple of the best homes in our town come on the market in the next little bit. We can't say too much about the particulars, but if you are keeping an eye on the local market, you will see some beautiful heritage homes hitting the market in the next sort of 3 to 6 weeks, with campaigns going throughout the spring. So if you're looking for that change, I think you're going to see some stunning homes available to purchase as well.
So just on that, let's talk styles of properties that people are available that are able to purchase. What are we looking at, and what's the price range?
Okay, so we start anywhere from about the $200,000 point for a home that needs work. Probably a smaller home that needs work, you'd sit at around that maybe $200,000 to $250,000 price bracket. Our median house price in Temora sits around the mid 300s. So that's for your standard 3 bedroom, 1 to 2 bathroom home on a block ranging anywhere from about 700 square meters up to sort of 1,200 square meters, depending on location in town and the quality of the home. And then basically it's a steady increase from there. You've got your standard 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home could range anywhere from $450,000 up to $650,000, depending on the size of the block, the size of the home, and the quality of the finishes. And then from there up, you're looking at more of your Federation style homes on larger lots. So some of these properties could be on up to, from anywhere from about 2,000 square meters to to over 2 acres, all within the town limits. So you're going to see some really quality homes on large lots, which is what with the conversations I've been having with buyers who are looking to relocate. They don't want to relocate from the suburbs of the city and then come and live in a house where the neighbours still being able to shake the neighbour's hand through the window. They want the space, and quite often with the way the market's been in the cities in the last few years, if they've owned their home for a little while now, they've got good equity behind them that they can pull out of their home in the city and then potentially come out here with even less a mortgage and get a home twice the size on twice the size of land. So we're seeing most of the demand from relocating purchases on those larger lots. But I think as momentum builds and lots become more building blocks become available, we're going to see those snapped up by relocating purchases as well.
Yeah, awesome. Craig, is there anything you'd like to add to that in terms of housing availability or any of the skill set side of things?
I think that on the housing side, there's, as Lachlan said, there's more diversity in terms of the options that we've got. I know there's a lot of people that are families that are looking to move here. There's also a lot of retirement options as well. Another thing that council's doing is working on an affordable housing development on some land that we own. So that will be for a range of age groups and different situations that people might find themselves in. I've also got some developments that are for retirees or for people that just want to downsize. Shipton Villas is a really good example of that are really nicely sized 2 and 3 bedroom units and within walking distance to the main street. And we see more and more of those developments happening as well, which is great if you've got a family that are looking to bring, the extended family and settle here too. We quite often see that it'll be mum and dad that move here and then the kids follow, or the other way around, which is a good testament to how much people do enjoy living here. The other thing I was going to add has just escaped me now, was really around.
Was it about housing? Was it about jobs?
Bring your own job. We've talked about all the skill shortages, and there are plenty of them. To opportunities to take, and basically if you've got a skill, whether you're professional or not, or a trade or whatever, come and chat to us, because quite often I'll be able to slot you in somewhere and find you a job. There's a lot of the jobs aren't listed, and I've seen more jobs listed this last 12 months than I ever have done before, probably 3 times as many jobs listed, or 3 or 4 than ever before. But quite often employers won't always advertise because they think they know the candidate pool here. So, quite often they talk to me about, or I know that they're expanding and they look for different staff. So happy to speak to anyone who's considering a change and see if I can tee them up and talk through some opportunities that might exist locally. Bringing your own job is another great example of that. And now that people have these flexible working arrangements with their employers, that's a good opportunity. We have a flexible working space in Temora called the Mart Business Centre, and that offers hot desks or longer term office spaces in a co-working kind of environment. You can set up your own business or just work from there because you don't want to work from home when you want to form a social network, in Temora. So we have people, working for government agencies, for corporates, all have moved here and find that space really quite useful. So it's a really good option.
Yeah, for sure. And you touched on an important part there, which is the social aspect. Do either one of you want to share what the Temora tagline is for something that you wear as a badge of honour?
It's the friendly Shire, which when I first moved back,
it is the friendly Shire.
I was like, that's a massive burden to bear. But actually, part of my job's marketing. I was like, we need to get rid of that friendly Shire thing. It wasn't something we gave ourselves. It was given to us by the Sydney Morning Herald in an article a couple of decades ago now, actually. But the longer I live here, the more I realise that it's actually true, because it gets told back to us all the time by people that don't even know that that's our tagline. So people quite often say, I was just walking down the street and someone who didn't even know me sort of said hello and asked all these questions and, made me feel really welcome. Or I moved here and I was away for a particular day and my neighbour put out the bin, or the bin men just went in and got it. And all these little things that seem so normal to us because that's part of our culture. That's where we grow up, and it's all about respecting your elders and all that kind of stuff. But it does tend to have been self-fulfilling. So we kind of attract people here who community to them is really important. And we can kind of tell when we meet them, oh yeah, you'll fit in because, they really want to get involved in coaching the footy team, or they want to ask questions about service clubs and how they can volunteer. We've got a really high rate of volunteerism here, one of the highest in the country. So I think all of those little things make up. And if that's kind of rings true to you and you're feeling something about that, then, Temora could be the community for you, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Did you want to add to that, Lachlan?
Yeah, so I'm just going to run with the same tagline because it does sound sometimes when you say it, you think it sounds a bit corny, but like Craig said, it wasn't given to us by ourselves. It was given to Temora quite some time ago now, and it has stuck. And people always reference it, and no one's ever been able to prove anything else to us. So I would definitely stick with that. Just on what we were talking about earlier, I think as far as Temora is concerned, and this is probably somewhat a biased opinion, but our business and council are obviously heavily involved in this side of Temora and trying to grow the population and going forward. I think we're really in a perfect storm at the moment with what's happening economically in our district, also with the COVID situation, and then the work that's going on in the background over the last sort of 8 to 12 years, especially the last 8 years while Craig's been involved at council. With the work that's been involved with Country Change, for starters, going to the initial expos in Sydney and bringing people out and hosting expos in our town, and all the work that went into that. On top of that, the industries that council have been able to get to come to our town in the past few years, the growth of our current industries, and then the release of housing blocks that is coming up. I think that it's just the perfect storm, and we're already seeing the interest rise in this spring period. And I'm a big believer that momentum builds momentum. So as we get more and more people relocating, I think we will get more and more people following suit, and it'll be like a strong demand coming into our region. And I think a lot of other councils and communities will probably look at Temora in a few years' time and think, wow, how did they grow so much in such a short period? Well, it'll probably come back to a lot of work was done in the decade prior to, I think, the period we're coming into of growth. And as far as facilities and things like that, all the work has been done to allow for a platform of growth in Temora over the next few years. And we've got all the facilities and the medical and the education and everything that is needed from a family or a retiree relocating perspective. I think that we're just at that perfect tipping point where we're going to see a lot of people moving to the area.
Speaking of tipping points, my microphone just tipped over.
Yeah.
You work it in there.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add? I think you've given a really spot on description of Temora that is now what it, the fact that this has been a long-term strategic vision. I know, Craig, you've been working on it. Your predecessors would have been working on it. It's, I guess, really exciting to see that momentum is definitely there and it's definitely building. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you think viewers would like to hear?
Only for me that we are growing, but we're still small enough to care about individuals, and that extends to welcoming new people as well. So we've always taken this approach, and I think it's what sort of stood us apart from other communities, and we want to hold on to that, is that when I say get in touch with us, Lachlan and myself, to talk about what you want and what you'd really like to get out of a Country Change, we'll listen and we'll work with you and we'll integrate you into the community and make it the best move that you've ever made. And that's genuine.
Yeah. And for anybody wanting more information, both Lachlan's and Craig's details will be available on this post, but also on our Country Change website. Go to countrychange/Temora. You'll find all that you need to know about the Temora Shire, population, distances, education, facilities, all that other sort of business end of stuff. But Lachlan and Craig, thank you so much for joining us today. I think it's been a really informative personal view, not just, you know, selling Temora. And I think that's what resonates with people wanting to hear from locals too. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.